Hello, you've reached Hack Games. My name is Jeremy, and this is episode 2 of Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous. So as a quick recap of what happened in episode 1, we woke up with a hole in our chest, were healed by a dragon, and then went directly to a festival. We drank a little beer, we threw some darts, we fell in a hole, like you do, where we met some companions. They peer pressured us into whipping it out in front of an old rat man. And that brings us to where we are today. So we do have level ups to process here, so without further ado, we'll just start the leveling process. We'll kind of talk through what we're doing as far as splits go in this episode, and the overall plans for the characters at end level. We're going to start with Sela here. Sela, by default, is a paladin, and by default is the tank of your party. I'm going to keep her as both a paladin and a tank. We really have two options within tanking in the paladin class. At level 5, you're given the option of a Divine Bond with your weapon, or a mount. The Divine Bond weapon option allows you to enhance your weapon in different ways. The mount option gives you a mount to ride around on. In this case, the only mount options if you stay paladin are a horse, and I find the horse to be kind of boring, so we're going to be taking a split here just to pick up a different animal. The split we're going to be taking is we're going to be going to Camellia and taking Beast Rider. Now, the benefit of getting Beast Rider at level 1 is we do get the Tactician ability, which means any teamwork feats that we take, we can utilize and give out to the rest of our party. We get our choice of animal companion. We already have the proficiencies. We get an ability called Challenge, which gives us extra damage to a target once a day. And we get a bonus feat, which is a teamwork feat that we can utilize with Tactician. Additionally, we do get 1 base attack bonus and 2 fortitude save. And this is a class that starts with a mount, so we get 1 level in mount progress. So when we look at Paladin to see what we're losing in this case, we can tell that we are losing 1 base attack bonus as we go from 19 to 20 here. So we're losing 1, we're gaining 1, we'll be at the same base attack bonus. We will be losing 1 fortitude and 1 will save, and that is in exchange for 2 fortitude. We are losing the ability to become a holy champion, which would give damage resistance increase to 10 evil, and we're not going to be able to heal the maximum whenever we use our Land Hands ability. Land Hands is an alright ability. It's primarily used for healing yourself, and in this case, since we're going to be mounted tanking, our mount is going to be the one taking most of the damage, not Sela herself. We're also going to lose the final level of spell progression, but that actually doesn't matter because it looks like we have the same progression at both level 19 and level 20. So we'll grab Cavalier here, we'll select Beast Rider, and we'll start the level up process. Now, since we're going to be riding on a mount, we want to invest in mobility. Mobility is a key skill for having a mount. There are a lot of feats that assist your mount in not taking damage or making saves that rely on your mobility. We're also going to be upping Persuasion because that's just the ability that she's best at. And in this case, we'll be upping Lore Religion twice because we don't have another person currently doing Religion, and we'll need someone to do Religion for camping. The order we're going to select is the Order of the Sword. We only will be getting the level 1 abilities out of the order, so that will just increase our challenge to receive a +1 morale bonus to attack rolls against the target of our challenge, and it's never going to increase. And we get Lore Religion as our class skill, but we already had that from being a paladin. The teamwork feats that we can choose at this level are pretty limited. It would be nice if we could choose Outflank because that is actually the teamwork feat that we would like. However, we're not eligible for that because we don't have a high enough base attack bonus at this level. What we're going to choose instead is Precise Strike. Precise Strike gives us 1d6 points of precision damage. Essentially, that is sneak attack damage, or it functions in the same way as sneak attack damage. It does also stack with sneak attack damage. This won't offer us any function right away unless we use the Tactician ability, at which point our entire party will receive sneak attack damage if they're flanking the target, or if the target is flanked. As I said, we're going to be choosing the Mastodon here. The primary reason we're choosing the Mastodon is it starts with a very high natural armor bonus of 7, and at level 7, it gets an additional 3. However, it loses 2 dexterity. So currently it is receiving another 2 points of armor class from dexterity, meaning it starts with a 9 armor class, and that equates to a 19, which we can buff with mage armor up to 23. We can offer it additional buffs as well in the form of deflection bonuses. It can wear gear and equipment, not rings, but it can wear necklaces, and natural armor bonuses do stack. This is a screen that just gives us our overview of what we're going to be getting for our level up. We kind of know that already. Saddle up we won't be able to use yet because the Mastodon is a medium-sized creature, so we won't be able to use that until level 7 when it becomes a large-sized creature. Now, because we have our pet, it also has some levels to gain. And as I said, we're going to be using this pet as a defensive pet, so we're going to be selecting the Bulwark class. Bulwark offers us some interesting effects in that it gives us free feats for our barding, for light and medium. However, we do still have to use a feat if we want to wear heavy barding. And we're only going to have 12 defense at the top level, so we're probably going to be alright wearing heavy barding. We'll have to look at that because the animals do get bonus stats as long as you keep the animal progress up with the party member who's created the animal. In this case, we also do have Sturdy, which gives us damage reduction, which is great. The skills for the animal companion are just going to be mobility and perception. Those two I'm going to take every level. It doesn't really make a lot of sense to have them take athletics or stealth. Mobility will help them with moving away from combat if you want to move away from combat, and perception as a passive bonus just helps them spot things if your other characters don't manage to spot things. The feat that we're going to be selecting at this level is Dodge. Dodge just gives us an additional bonus to our armor class of 1. And I think we're going to name our elephant here Snuffles. Again, here's just the review of what we're going to get at. Technically, this is level 1 of our class. We only have 6 hit points. So we'll level him up to level 2. Again, we're just going to take mobility and perception, and we're going to end up with 11 hit points. Now, when you look at this, you may notice that Sela herself has 21 hit points. The reason that she has more or such a degree of difference in hit points to the animal companion is that the animal companion's effective level right now is only 1 of 2, because we have taken 1 level in Paladin, which does not have animal companion progress, and 1 level in Camellia, which does have animal companion progress. So next up is our character. For our character, I was debating a little bit between whether I wanted to get the bite from Oracle right away, which would also give us weapon proficiency as a free bonus feat, or if I want to get the mutagen from Alchemist. I believe I'm going to go with the mutagen from Alchemist. It's going to offer us bonus strength. Now, again, when we look at what we're going to lose and what we're going to gain here, the Blood Rager is a full base attack bonus class. Neither the Alchemist nor the Oracle are. So when we look at the Vivisectionist here, we notice in the first level that we take, we are not going to receive a base attack bonus. So we will be losing 1 base attack bonus. In this case, that's not a big deal. The function of the base attack bonus is to give you an extra attack every 6. As long as we don't drop by 5 base attack bonus in our splits, we will still have 4 attacks, and our strength is going to make up for the ability to hit that we'll lose from base attack bonus. Also in this case, you can notice we're at 11-6-6 for our saves, and we move up to 12-6-6, so we gain a 1 point in Fortitude save. The first level in Alchemist here, or Vivisectionist, is going to give us 2 Fortitude and 2 Reflex. So we'll be gaining 1 Fortitude and 2 Reflex by taking this split. And then we gain another Fortitude and another Reflex from the second level, and we do get a base attack bonus for the second level in this class. We'll need the second level because that is when we get the medical discovery, which is what we want for Feral Mutagen. Starting off right away here, we also do get sneak attack, so we just get an extra d6 every time we're flanking someone, and because of the character that we are, we should always be flanking someone. And our character, again, is going to be taking mobility to 3 and arcana to 5. Because we didn't get very many skill points this level, we are not going to be able to upgrade perception, persuasion, or knowledge world is really the other one that we're going to grab, because now that we have taken a level on Alchemist, we have the ability to craft potions in camp. and we're going to want our character to be the potion crafter. The spells that we select here don't really matter. What I'm going to select is Cure Light Wounds, Enlarge Person, and Shield. Those are spells that we might use. However, the ability for casting alchemist spells is Intelligence, and we only have 10 Intelligence, so we won't actually be able to cast these spells unless we are wearing a helmet or something that boosts our Intelligence to allow us to do so. Additionally, when we drink the mutagen that we're going to be drinking, we're going to get a -2 penalty to Intelligence, so we would need an even larger bonus to cast these spells. Next up, I'm going to skip Camellia here for a moment, and I'm going to go directly to Lan. Now, Lan currently is a Zen Archer, which is a very good class by itself. However, I don't want to continue leveling Lan in Zen Archer. We will be going to the 3rd level, because I would like to get the Wisdom modifier instead of Dexterity modifier on attack rolls. Which means I want to select a class that utilizes his Wisdom, because we're going to put points into Wisdom as we level up. In this case, I would like a class that's going to bring some more to the table, essentially have some more group utility in utilizing Wisdom as a magical ability. Additionally, I would like a pet. Having multiple pets is actually a great way to shore up your team, especially if you have a lot of ranged characters. So in this case, I was debating between the Sacred Huntsman and the Inquisitor line. Inquisitors do use Wisdom for their spell casting ability, and as you can see, they top out at level 6, which would mean we would need at least a 16 Wisdom to cast level 6 spells. We do already have a 17 Wisdom, so we would be able to cast all of the spells in the Inquisitor line here. The thing that I don't like with this specific subclass, though, is that we lose Judgments. Judgments are a really nice ability that last for an entire combat and give you different bonuses depending on which judgment you utilize. The things that would be nice about this is we do get teamwork feats and we do get favored enemies. The other class that I was looking at utilizing is the Divine Hound in the Hunter category. The benefit here is that we regain those judgments that we would have lost within the Inquisitor. The other nice thing is that this is a class where we get an animal companion right away. Again, we do already have a level in a class that does not have an animal companion, so we're missing 1 progress level out of that, and we're intending to take 2 more levels in that class, which would put us at 3 progress levels missing. The Feat Boon Companion offsets 4 levels of non-pet progression, so it'll bring us up to speed as soon as we take that feat, which we'll take at the 3rd level. Let's go Divine Hound. We will be taking the 2 feats in Monk directly after this 1 level in Divine Hound. However, I do want the pet right away. For Lan, we are going to make sure that we keep his athletics up. Athletics is kind of an odd skill because it's the only skill whose skill checks cause you to be fatigued if you fail them after you get out of this area. It is very important that you have 1 person with athletics, and it's nice if they're a person who's not going to be wearing any armor to minus the athletics amount that they have. The other thing that we're going to need for sleeping is stealth. So we are going to put 2 points into stealth. We're going to continue to level him up in stealth. He'll be our stealthy archer who happens to have a dog running around with him. And lastly, we're just going to up perception. Again, because it's nice to have multiple people with perception to make sure you find the things that are hidden. Well, like I said, we're going to end up with a dog as an animal companion. We only have the choice between dog and wolf. Both of these companions utilize strength as their base attack bonus or their ability to hit. So as you can see, the wolf ends up with 21 strength at level 7 when it grows in size. The dog ends up with 23 strength as it grows in size. It does lose a dexterity bonus as it will drop to 11 dexterity, but 13 dexterity is enough to grab dodge if you want to. Just make sure you grab dodge prior to level 7 when it grows. The wolf will end up with 7 natural armor and the dog will end up with 8 natural armor. There's not a big difference there, but it is nice just to have the 1 extra point of natural armor. Our spells for level 1 here are going to be Hurricane Bow. What this does is it makes your bow a size category larger so that it does more damage. and Magic Fang. Magic Fang gives our pet a +1 enhancement bonus on attack and damage rolls. I think primarily we're going to be utilizing Hurricane Bow instead of Magic Fang, but we'll see how the damage is coming out from both characters. Here's again is all the things that we're going to be gaining for leveling up. As you can see, Land currently has 5 technically abilities that are odd. Now, what I'm going to do, just because I'm a little bit obsessive compulsive, is I am going to be leveling all of those up to even numbers, because it bugs me if they are not on even numbers. If you are playing this game, it's better to just focus on wisdom and level that up with the 5 points you're going to get to 22 wisdom. And last but not least, we have Camellia. Camellia is really a support character, and she functions well as support. I've seen a lot of people build her for damage or build her for tanking, but I haven't found a lot of luck, or I haven't found that she fills those roles better than other options that you have available. Currently, I'm just going to keep her in the Spirit Hunter class. I'm not intending to use Camellia long term, though. For Camellia, you can see she already has a really high trickery. It's the highest trickery we have available, so we're just going to bump that up 1. And then in this case, the only other thing that we need is perception. We don't really have a need for stealth because we're having Land do that. We don't have a need for Arcana because we are doing that. And we don't have a need for religion because currently Sela is doing that. There are a couple different ways you can go with the Hex here. It's really going to depend on how you want to use her. If you're using her as kind of an off-tank, you'll probably want to select Ice Plant just because it gives you an extra bonus to your armor class. If you're utilizing her as kind of a damage dealer, you may want to select Intimidating Display because it automatically gives you Dazzling Display. However, I have found that this one is kind of wonky when it comes to trying to take feats that require Dazzling Display in the future. Sometimes it registers as you having it, and sometimes it registers as you not having it. In this case, the one that I'm going to be taking is Fortune. What Fortune does is it essentially gives you advantage for 1 round. So you can make 2 rolls on anything you do for 1 round. After we get to level 4, we'll take Chant so that we can extend Fortune indefinitely. And at that point, we'll have Camellia sitting stationary somewhere behind the front line of battle. Alright, now that we've taken those level ups, it's time to fix our ability bars. I'm not going to make you guys look at what I'm doing with the ability bars. I'm just going to set those up here and then we'll be right back. Alright, now that that's done, I've realized I forgot to level up our dog. So this will be good just to go through real quick what are on the other characters' bars at this time. I always set up Charge and Coup de Grace in the 1-2 slots, and Mobility and Fighting Defensively in the only clickable slots, I guess, here on the far right side. I try to keep the buffs just to the left of these, so near the end, or if they have heals, I'll put heals also over here. So in the case of our character, we can see that we've got Charge, Coup de Grace, Blood Rage, Hellfire Strike, and Hellfire Strike gives our Weapon of Fire ability. Our Mutagen here kind of in the middle, our defensive buff Blur near the edge, Light of the Angels, which is an ability that we got when finding the sword, which blinds everything around us. This can be good to use, especially on things that have very high attack bonus, because it does make them blind, so it reduces their ability to hit you by 1. And then Acrobatics or Mobility and Fighting Defensively. You can see over here we also do have Power Attack. I generally put the things that are going to be continuously on, unless I want to ship them off quickly, over in the 2 bars to our left. In Camelia's case, she has some more support spells. Looks like I want Bless over here as well. So for her, in 1 and 2 we have Charge, Coup de Grace. Then we have her Arcane, or her Spirit Weapon enchantment. It's Arcane Weapon enchantment for Arcanists and Maguses. One of the things that she can do with the enchantment is utilize this Ghost Touch Spirit enchantment. And her Battle Spirit, which gives us a morale bonus on attack rolls and weapon damage rolls. You don't want to use this at the same time when you're blessed, because bless also gives you a morale bonus on attack rolls. That's really what it's used for, and those two morale bonuses will not stack. So this is better used when you are really wanting to output damage, I guess, or utilize the damage function. And it's only for 4 rounds, so it is not a very long buff. Fortune here, which we just picked up, this is a 1-round buff, and you can only use it on each person once a day. However, for that 1 round, they do get rerolls on everything, pretty much. Once we are able to get Chant, you can technically put this on one of the individuals, and as long as you have Chant automatically casting, it will continue to refresh this buff, which means as long as Camellia doesn't move during combat, she can put this out on everybody at the same time, and for that one combat, they can all roll advantage against whatever they're fighting. That's maybe not the best way to utilize it. I probably would give it out to a few people in different fights each time, but you are going to want to Chant to keep it up for the entirety of the fight. For Lan, we do have more judgments than what I've put in the bar currently. However, these are the judgments that I'm going to use most often, and I don't really see a need for the other judgments while we're only able to use one of them. Once we get the ability to use more than one, we will probably add more to the bar. So for Lan, again, he's got Charge and Coup de Grace, which technically he won't be using, so I will probably pull these off the bar at some point. We have Perfect Strike, which if we use it before we roll, we get advantage again. So this does the same thing as Fortune, but it's only for 1 attack. Then the judgments that we've selected are Justice, which is +1 to attack, Destruction, which is +1 to damage, and Protection, which is +1 to armor class. You can rotate through these in the middle of the fight, however, you'll only have the duration of one fight to use them at the first level. So if in the middle of the fight I realize I'm not having trouble hitting things and I want to do more damage, I can switch it from Justice to Destruction. At the end here, again, we have Acrobatics and Fighting Defensively. We won't be utilizing Fighting Defensively for Lan, but we may be using Acrobatics if something gets close to him. What Acrobatics is used for is just to get away from an enemy without provoking an attack of opportunity. However, it does make you move much slower. And then we have the 2 buffing spells that we just picked up, Magic Fang and Hurricane Bow. As I said, I'm probably going to be using Hurricane Bow more than Magic Fang, specifically in this case. The pet bars are really simple currently. All we have is Charge and Coup de Grace, and Fighting Defensively, which I'm going to turn on for Snuffles here, and Acrobatics. And since we forgot to level up our dog here, let's get him leveled up. There's kind of 2 different options for the dog. If you would like to, you can utilize Bully. Bully is really an option to use if you're going to be putting a lot of combat maneuvers on the pet, and you want to power up his ability to trip things or his ability to bull rush things. In this case, I'm not going to have additional support around him to have the teamwork feats that make those work very well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use him mainly as a damage dealer, and we're going to select Aggressor. Again, we're just going to pick 1 in Mobility and 1 in Perception, and for him, he gets Power Attack right off the bat here. So we're actually going to grab Cleave, and then at level 3, we'll grab Cleaving Finish. And his name is going to be Scruffy. So now when we look at the dogs... Oh, this is the dog. So now when we look at the dogs, we've got him kind of set up here. I don't want except Inspire Rage. That is an ability that you'll want on if you have a Scald in your party in order to accept the benefits from the Scald. Again, I'm going to grab Power Attack, and I'm just going to move that over here. For now, we're just going to leave that always on. If we're having trouble hitting something, we're going to turn it off. For him, we're going to put Fighting Defensively and Acrobatics over here as well. We are not going to be turning Fighting Defensively on. I'm only going to leave that on the Elephant. We're going to move Cleave over here, and we're going to drop Coup de Grace in. Because he only has 1 attack, as often as possible, we're going to want him to use Cleave. So for now, I'm just going to turn cleave on cast automatically. We don't really have a negative for constantly using cleave. We're just going to be trying to attack 2 enemies instead of 1 enemy. And the negative is that we only get 1 attack per round when we do that, and we only have 1 attack per round anyways. So the only negative that we're going to get is you do get a -2 to your armor class, but if he's getting swung at, we're doing something wrong anyways. Let's grab his 2nd level here. And this level, like the elephant, is just going to be skill points. We really don't get anything else. Alright, that is everybody leveled. To talk real quickly about save scumming, there are a couple checks which I am going to reload for if I fail. One of them is coming up here in the near future. I do want Horgus Worm to pay me as much money as he possibly can every time we do anything for him. There are other checks for mobility and stuff like that where you just die straight out if you fail it. And things like athletics, which if you fail, make you take a really long time and cause you negative effects to your characters like fatigue. So let's go see if we can persuade Horgus to give us some money. Finally, someone from the surface. I was beginning to lose hope.
We should move.
Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Horgus Worm. Yes, that Worm. You no doubt have heard of me, and if you spent any time at all in the city, I have a business proposition for you. Well, your name really tells me nothing. Who are you? You truly are freshly arrived in the city, then. You couldn't have picked a worse time, that's for certain. Only just arrived, and the city's been razed to rubble. You should know that you are looking at one of the richest and most distinguished men in Canabras. I may not be as well known as certain swaggering loudmouths who spend their lives traipsing from one ball to the next, but the Worm Trading Company is one of the pillars of the city. I'll have you know. Did you see the marquees in the square? I paid for those. Tried any festival delicacies? You have Horgus Worm to thank for that. How did you end up down here? Horgus looks over at Camellia for a moment before he returns his gaze to us. Like everyone else, down I went when that accursed beetle cleaved the ground in twain beneath our feet. I'm lucky I didn't break my neck in the fall, and I'm doubly lucky that I didn't encounter any subterranean cockroaches on my blind wanderings, and instead came across hunters from this settlement. Although, I must say that when I first glimpsed their physiognomies, my life flashed before my very eyes. But they turned out to be decent chaps. Frightening to look at, but able to keep a bargain. You don't speak very kindly of the mongrels, even though they saved your life. Pah! Kind words are for people with hours to fritter away on pleasantries. Horgus Worm speaks his mind, and he pays for services rendered not with kind words, but with hard coin. I give the mongrels my dagger in exchange for their help. Its handle is worth more than this whole village. What kind of business proposition do you have for us? I don't know what is happening on the surface right now, but I am determined to find out. You have no intention of seeing out the rest of your days in this village, I suspect. We must find a route back to the surface, to the city, if there's anything left of it. You look like a scientist. An alchemist, I bet. You must know a thing or two about concoctions that can heal your friends as well as harm your enemies. Just what we need in these caves. This is a place where you don't know what you'll need first. Protection against an attack or a cure for poisoning. You look like someone who can swing a blade as well as cast a spell. I'm very gratified to see it. A good generalist will be a fine companion on the way to the surface. You are strong. It will be no trouble for you. But I, alas, am not as fit as I once was. I can't go crawling about through the caves, playing at scouts. My proposition is simple. Lead me back to the city, and I shall pay you 1,000 gold coins. So, here's where we try to get our diplomacy for our 2,000 gold coins. We do have a 7, so we need a 9. And we failed. Alright, we succeeded. Obviously on our first try. Are you taking advantage of my dire circumstances? Very well. Make it 2,000. Deal. Splendid. In the meantime, I shall sit here, in the village. Alright, well, we have to get going. Go on, go on. Don't forget our agreement. When you find the way out, be sure to tell me. Alright, let's run around the village and steal all the stuff from the mongrels. Got a couple fish. And it's Anevi and Horgus. This tragedy may not have happened if you'd spent less time surveying honest citizens and more time tracking the real spies and demon worshippers. Brilliant idea. How come I didn't think of that? Now, if only the cultists would tell us they were cultists, then we wouldn't have to waste time investigating honest citizens who decide to go all cloak and dagger right under our noses. They're sitting apart from each other, sniping at one another in an idle fashion. What's the bad blood between you two all about? It's an old matter. Miss Tearblade here had the notion of spying on me, then of rummaging through my goods. I ask you, do I look like a cultist? Cultists don't tend to look like cultists, you know. That's kind of the whole problem. And you, Mr. Worm, built a whole secret operation of buying and smuggling into the city. What was it? Oh yeah, magical weapons. How was I supposed to know that all the rigmarole with middlemen was so you could anonymously donate supplies to the crusade? Don't you see? I have a reputation to uphold, one that I value most highly. Horgus Worm is a hard-nosed businessman, not a good fairy from a tale. Yes, I care about my city. Yes, I wish to see that its defenders, my defenders, were well-fed, healthy, and well-armed. But to make those donations openly was unthinkable. I might as well hang a sign outside my door welcoming in every sponger, leech, and parasite in the city. I appreciate your help for the crusade. No jokes. You're an alright bloke. But carrying on secret dealings in a city that's teeming with cultists is a huge pain in the backside for us lot whose job it is to keep an eye on that sort of thing. Well, Nivea, how's your leg doing? Well, it hasn't fallen off yet, so that's good. They've bandaged me up all nice and smeared some sticking stuff on the wound, so it looks like I'm gonna live. They said wait a day and I'll be right as rain, so I'm waiting. What do you think is happening in the city right now? Perhaps the city is no more. If Discari himself appeared, there's no telling how bad things are. Can you hold off on writing our obituaries just yet? The city's full of fighters. And besides that, it's barely a stone's throw from Neroshian, and I think our people will hold on long enough for reinforcements to come from the Queen. This ain't Discari's home turf. He's gonna have to retreat or else fight off the whole Mendevian army. What do you guys think of the mongrels? I thought they were just a story. The sort of thing drunks in the tavern would come out with. Now I discover that it's true. Well, what can I possibly think of them? The poor creatures are most unfortunate, with their faces and their minds so deformed. It's a miracle they're even alive. The part that boggles my mind is that they're the descendants of the first Crusaders. All these years, they've been living beneath our feet, in caves in the dirt. If I'd known the legends about them were true, I'd have dedicated my life to getting them out of this place. To what end? The people of Clonabras would have stoned them on sight, and Prelate Hulrun would have had them tossed on a pyre en masse. Whatever the ills of this place, it is their home. How long do you think they would have survived on the surface? Well, what are you guys going to do when we get back to the surface? I'm going to go home. Last I knew, I owned a very fine mansion. I shall see if it's still standing or if I'm now homeless. I'm going to go find Irabeth. She's my wife and the leader of the Eagle Watch. As long as she lives, she won't allow Clonabras to fall. Well, that's fascinating. We have to go now. Go on then, don't dilly-dally. The sooner we get out of here, the likelier are we are to find some people still alive up there. Take care of yourself. And off for more looting. Looks like Dyra is offering that she will sell us some stuff. I'm going to skip past that for now. If we look at the map here, we've got some other loot items to find, and I'll just go back and talk to her when we're ready to sell all of our stuff. I'm going to run back up here because apparently I forgot to loot these things in my rush to go talk to Horgus about paying me more money. Again, the tab key is going to be your best friend for pretty much the whole game. Oh, I guess the other thing I should look at real quick while we're running around is the formation here. Now, I'm not going to move them around manually at this time because it is going to change as soon as someone leaves or enters our party. Actually, I'm going to just do that later. So we'll grab this sack of loot. We'll go up here and grab this other one that was on the map for us. And let's run back to Dyra and see about doing some trading. I don't think there's anything in my inventory that I actually want to keep here. I should say I'm going to keep my potions and this other magical gear. But as far as the equipment goes, that seems to all be vendor trash. You there, a tall woman with face deformed by an enormous swelling, smiles broadly at us. You from the surface? You must be tough to make it all the way here. Never thought I'd see the day. Call me Dyra. Let's trade. Wait, who are you? The people around here call me all sorts. Dyra the Hoarder, Dyra the Coin, Dyra the City Girl. Like that's a bad thing, haha. I troll the caves, picking up all kinds of things from the surface that wash down here through your sewers. I trade all kinds of junk for food and clothes, but I only part with my best finds for coins. Got no coins? Forgot what money is? Well then, I have no use for you. If you want city goods, you need to pay for them with gold, like city folk. Well, why are you so eager to trade with me? Because all the people here are no better than animals now. Our forefathers lived in the city like you. Our people love to reminisce about armies, knights, crusades, but I couldn't care less about that. Savages with clubs can fight a war. Only civilized folk can buy and sell. They've all forgotten what trading is. They've forgotten the value of gold. They barter hides for plant roots and go on about the feats of the Crusaders. Who cares about them? I don't need help remembering. I have coins, and I have things to sell. Now let's trade, like proper city folk. Alright, let's trade. Here you can have all my junk, and you can have everything I have in my inventory that is equipment. Deal. Alright, so the other thing we have to do in town here before we leave, I'm going to turn this off real quick so we don't see things we've already done, is rest in the village hut. Here's the village hut that we're supposed to rest in. Before we go to sleep, though, since we did level up, I'm going to quickly look through everyone's spellbook, even the people that don't have spells, just to make sure they all have what we want them to have. As we discussed, we don't have a high enough intelligence for any of our alchemist spells, so we're just not going to use any of those. Our Blood Rager spells are based on our charisma, and we did set our charisma high enough to cast those. For Camellia, it looks like she's got one slot available. I'm going to put Bless in that slot just to give us a little buff of sorts. So now we have one fight where essentially we can use Enlarged Person and Bless to push our way through it if we're having difficulty with it. Alan's going to have spontaneous casting, so he doesn't have to pick spells to memorize. He can just use either of these. And neither of the pets know magic. So to sleep we go. The messenger returned. The tribes are gathering at the entrance to the maze. Our people have already gone there. I've warned Nevia and that old guy, who won't even acknowledge me. Take your time, there's no rush. The most important people always show up late. Everything's going to plan, but one thing's bothering me. Wendu's gone. All the tribes? So a whole army is marching on the maze? By mongrel standards, yes, but don't be too disappointed when you see the reality. There aren't many of us who can hold a weapon, and fewer still who can do any damage with one. Well, what do you think happened with Wendu? I don't know. She always was stubborn. Maybe she decided she could do it all on her own. I hope she comes back. We'll struggle without her. And she'll struggle without us, no matter how hard she'll try to deny it. What about Anevia and Horgus? Are we just going to leave them here? Once we've cleared the maze, the way ahead will be safe. Anevia's in no state to fight. And that Horgus guy, he doesn't look like he'll shift an inch unless we roll out a red carpet all the way to the exit. Lan, are you sure the maze is the only way to the surface? There was another passage, the one I used with my dad when we left and then came back. The chief back then, he found it and filled it in to stop anybody else going against the ancestors' wishes. And what the ancestors wanted was for everyone to go through the maze. I'm not sure of anything right now, but we don't have a choice. We can only go forward. There were other passages, but they're a long ways from here. And with all these earthquakes, who knows what condition they're in now. So our best bet is the maze. If it doesn't lead anywhere, then we consider our next move. Alright, well, let's go. There's no time to lose. Hold on a minute. I wanted to tell you something. To tell you that I'm sorry. Truth be told, I had doubts that you'd help me persuade Saul. Not strong doubts, but still, doubts. And I know how hard life is for tieflings on the surface, especially in Canabras. People used to mistake me for a demon all the time when I was living there. I remember how offended I felt when people treated me with prejudice. And then you came along, and I started to wonder if you were a cultist or a demon spy. Long story short, I was wrong. Forgive me. I know I could have kept this to myself, but I'm used to being honest. So, thank you for giving the mongrels hope. It's like we've started to believe that we're worth something. Now that we have the power of the angels on our side, that's it. I guess that's all I wanted to say. Let's go through the main gate. The straight road is the shortest. And we're off. Let's take a quick look. Here's the main gate exit. That didn't show up before because we hadn't slept, but now that we're rested, we're ready to go. And now I really should switch our formation. Since Wendu took off, we have the ability to change this, and I think we're going to go like this. And we'll move Camellia with us, which will leave us back a little bit, because we're going to be faster than... Oh, actually, no, I'm sorry, we have an animal. The animal will be fast enough to get there before us. So we're just going to do this. The dog and the mastodon are going to be the fastest creatures, and we really want our tank creature to be there ahead of everyone else, and also to be moving faster than everyone else if possible. On to the shield maze. Alright, another tunnel. Oh, it looks like we're a little bit out in front of our animal, so we're going to move back first, and then go in. And he actually hit us right away, which is too bad. Let's take a look at what he needed to hit us. We don't have any buffs on him right now, so... Oh, there we are. What did he need to hit us? Oh, we were flat-footed still. So the way to avoid being flat-footed is to wait until your counter passes for the first time before you rush in. Or make it so that you time contacting other things in melee when your counter is finishing. Alright, they've got a lot of mongrels stacked up out here, but they're not going in yet, so we're going to go ahead of them. However, there are some bugs over here, and we're going to be a little bit cheeky. We're going to set everyone to hold, and we're going to have Lan go get the bugs and bring them back, because they'll actually fight these guys, and these guys will fight the bugs, but we still get experience for them. We just don't have a chance to be poisoned or diseased this way. So now we'll just go ahead and mark everybody off hold and go in and help them out. There we go. And into the shield maze. We are going to heal up Snuffles here real quick.
Let us
Keyboard's off center. Got some treasure chests off to the side here. And got some cultists in front of us. Let's see, there's a little bit more up here. So what I'm going to do is I am going to just trigger Snuffles to run in at this wizard. I think I'm going to have Scruffy go after this wizard. And we'll actually have everyone else go after this cultist over here. Now we'll have Camellia go help Scruffy out here. That's too bad. So the wizards all cast Magic Missile, which we can't dodge, we can't mitigate in any way, so we're just going to take damage from that right now. Here we go for lockpicking, which we've got Camellia for. Trickery is pretty solid. We're going to grab everything that everybody has for right now. We'll probably make like a point to kind of drop stuff off for when we get a little bit overweight and we don't want to carry it all anymore. So this is kind of odd. We can see this line running, which means we know that there's a trap somewhere around here. Let's just see if we can find it, and then we'll disarm it. Every once in a while, I'll notice that even if I find a trap, I don't see where the disarming thing is, or obviously like just what happened there, vice versa. We are going to heal Snuffles again because he's already hurt. Yeah, if he had some mage armor or something like that, he would be doing a lot better. But obviously he does not have any of those items at this time. Oh, we've got too many guys in melee. So one thing I'm going to do real quick, let's see if we have a crossbow or something for Camellia for a little while. And for Sela, we're actually are going to take this stuff off, and she's going to get a glaive, which will give her reach attack, which means she can stand back further. And we just got another glaive. That one is going to go to us, because it's going to function just as well as that great axe. I'll leave this on in case we run into any demons, because this will bypass the damage reduction of demons. But primarily we're going to be fighting with a glaive down here. We're also going to downgrade our armor here. Oh no, these are both medium. Forgot about that. Actually, we're just going to take our armor off. We want to run fast. We're going to downgrade Sela's armor to breastplate though. So as you can see, we are now 40 speed, which is the same as the pets. Sela is actually 20 speed. She's 30, but because she's wearing medium armor, she loses 10. Actually, I just changed my mind. I'm going to have her in light armor so that she's still at 30 speed. This is just so we can get around faster. It's not too important in this first area here that we have all of our companions kind of at high armor values. Although it does assist if and when our tanky pet here does take some damage, which he's taken a lot more than I actually expected him to already. And we got a book here that we're going to read real quick. The Tome of the Minotaur, Sermons from the Labyrinth. I am not going to read through all of this text, but if you would like to, feel free to pause it and go ahead and read through it. I am not going to read through all of the book text in general. That slows everything down too much, I feel. The reason that we do want to read this one, though, is it does give us, well, it says we learn something and we can pop in and go to our abilities. You can see that it actually is the book icon, and we get +1 to attack and damage if we have a glaive, which we do. So, further into the labyrinth we go. Or the maze. The maze. Oh. And again, we're just going to have this guy go ahead and charge in to open the fight. Oh, our dog is going to get hit by this guy, maybe. So there, if we had our dog slow down a little bit until that guy could have made contact with the elephant, he would have attacked the elephant. But because the dog was in his way there, he made contact with the dog first, and he just targets the dog at that time. Hovland. His name was Hovland. Did you know him? Yeah, he's not from our tribe, but we're both hunters. So we'd cross paths from time to time in the cave passages. We'd share news and leave supplies for each other. Then he just disappeared. He used to talk about wanting to try his luck in the maze. I thought he was long dead. If only he had been. Well, why would mongrels attack us? Aren't we on the same side? Something's wrong with them. Look. Their bodies, it's like something's eating them from the inside out. Sure, maybe these guys just ate something weird or were having an off day. But I think something drove them out of their minds. Or someone. Well, it seems like this shield maze place of yours is crawling with cultists. How'd they all get here? I have no idea. This is my first time here, too. Maybe they fell down here the same way you did? Wendu comes here all the time. I'd ask her about it if she were here. Come to think of it, where is she? Well, let's go. This place might be even more dangerous than we thought. And there I was, hoping that we'd be the meanest things in here. These mongrels and cultists, now that I did not expect. I need to find out what's going on here. Well, it looks like we're about out of time here for episode 2. Please join us next time when we continue to clear the shield maze and hopefully make it to the surface. Until next time.